Hi everyone, welcome back to Listen and Learn English. I'm Bruno.
And I'm Carol. We're happy to have you with us for another relaxed English listening practice episode.
Today we're going to talk about a very enjoyable topic, hobbies and free time.
Yes, we'll talk about the things we like to do when we're not working, studying, or taking care of our daily responsibilities.
We'll discuss reading, watching movies, listening to music, playing sports, spending time outdoors, learning creative skills, and even using technology during our free time.
And this is a great topic for intermediate English learners because you can use this vocabulary in many real conversations. When you meet someone new, one of the most common questions is, what do you like to do in your free time?
Or what are your hobbies? It's a simple question, but sometimes it can be difficult to answer if you don't know the right expressions.
So today, we'll help you understand natural ways to talk about your interests. You'll hear phrases such as, I'm really into, I've taken up, I do it to relax, and I don't get around to it very often.
We'll explain these expressions naturally during the conversation, instead of giving you a long vocabulary list.
Exactly. Just relax, listen carefully, and try to notice how we describe our hobbies and routines. And remember to give the video a thumbs up and subscribe to the channel.
You can listen once for the general meaning, and then listen again to focus on the vocabulary and expressions.
And remember, you don't need to understand every single word immediately. Try to understand the main idea first.
So, Carol, are you ready to talk about hobbies?
I'm ready. In fact, talking about hobbies is one of my favorite things to do.
That sounds like a good place to start. Let's get into it.
Let's go, Bruno.
Carol, let's begin with a simple question. What do you usually do in your free time?
It depends on the day and on my energy level. During the week, I usually do something quiet. I might read a book, listen to music, or watch an episode of a television series.
So your weekday hobbies are mostly relaxing activities?
Yes, most of the time. After a long day, I don't always want to do something difficult or demanding. Sometimes I just want to sit on the sofa, make a cup of tea, and watch something interesting.
I understand that. After work, I often feel tired, but I don't want to waste the entire evening looking at my phone.
That's an important point. There's a difference between relaxing and simply wasting time.
Exactly. If I spend an hour scrolling through social media, I may not feel more relaxed afterward. Sometimes I feel even more tired.
I know what you mean. Scrolling can be entertaining for a few minutes, but it can easily turn into a habit. You check one video, then another, and suddenly an entire hour has gone by.
There's a useful expression for that. Time flies. It means that time passes very quickly, especially when you're enjoying yourself or when you're not paying attention.
Right. For example, time flies when I'm watching funny videos. Or time flies when I'm playing games with my friends.
But free time doesn't have to be productive. I think people sometimes feel guilty if they aren't learning something or improving themselves every minute.
I agree. Rest is important too. A hobby doesn't always have to help you achieve a goal. Sometimes you can do something simply because you enjoy it.
That's a healthy attitude. Some people say, I want to learn a language, play an instrument, exercise, read more books, cook healthy meals, and start a business. But they don't leave any time to relax.
Yes, and then they become frustrated because they have too many goals. It's better to choose one or two activities and enjoy them.
Do you think people have less free time now than they did in the past?
Maybe they have less uninterrupted free time. Even when people are relaxing, they often receive messages, emails, and notifications. Their attention is always divided.
That's true. Sometimes I try to have an evening without notifications. I put my phone on silent and leave it in another room.
Does that work?
Usually. At first, I want to check it, but after a few minutes, I forget about it.
That sounds like a digital break.
Yes, or a screen-free evening. It means an evening when you avoid televisions, computers, tablets, and phones.
I like that expression. A screen-free evening can be difficult at first, but it can also feel peaceful.
What do you do during a screen-free evening?
I might cook, organize my room, write in a notebook, or read. Sometimes I call a friend instead of sending a message.
Calling a friend is becoming a hobby for some people.
That's funny, but it's probably true. People are used to sending short messages, so having a real conversation feels special.
Do you prefer spending your free time alone or with other people?
Both. I need some quiet time alone, but I also enjoy meeting friends. It depends on how I feel.
I'm similar. After a busy week, I like to have some me time.
Me time means time that you spend alone, doing something for yourself.
For example, I need some me time this weekend.
Or, after taking care of everyone else, she finally had some me time.
That's a very useful everyday expression. And another common phrase is to make time for something.
Yes, if something is important, you try to create time for it. You can say, I'm busy, but I always make time for reading.
Or I need to make more time for exercise.
Bruno, do you think people need to plan their free time?
Sometimes, if I don't plan anything, I may spend the whole weekend doing very little. But I don't want every minute to be planned.
I agree. A little planning is helpful, but free time should also feel free.
That's a good way to describe it. You can have a plan, but you should leave room for spontaneity.
Spontaneity means doing something without planning it in advance.
Like deciding to go for a walk because the weather is beautiful.
Or inviting a friend for coffee because you suddenly have a free afternoon.
That kind of free time can be very enjoyable.
Definitely. Now, let's talk about some specific hobbies. Maybe we can start with quiet hobbies, such as reading, movies, and music.
Good idea. These are probably some of the most common free time activities.
Bruno, do you still read books regularly?
I do, but I read less than I would like to. I often start a book with great enthusiasm, but then work becomes busy and I don't get around to finishing it.
To get around to something means to finally find time to do something that you have delayed.
Exactly. I might say, I bought this book months ago, but I haven't gotten around to reading it yet.
That's a very natural expression. I use it all the time. I have a small pile of books next to my bed, and every book is waiting for me to get around to reading it.
What kind of books do you enjoy?
I like novels, especially stories about families and relationships. I also enjoy biographies because I like learning about people's lives.
Do you read fiction or nonfiction more often?
Probably fiction. Fiction means imaginary stories, such as novels and short stories. Nonfiction is based on real facts, such as history, science, or personal development.
I usually read nonfiction, especially books about history and psychology. But sometimes I need a good novel to escape from everyday life.
To escape from everyday life is a useful phrase. It means to take a mental break from your usual routine.
Reading can take you to a different place without leaving your home.
That's one of the reasons I enjoy it. When I'm reading, I'm not thinking about emails, shopping, or housework.
Do you prefer physical books or ebooks?
Physical books. I like holding the book and turning the pages. What about you?
I prefer ebooks when I'm traveling because they're lighter. I can carry many books on one device.
That's practical. But there's something special about a real book.
I agree. I also like visiting bookstores, even when I don't buy anything.
Me too. A bookstore has a calm atmosphere. You can browse the shelves, look at the covers, and discover something unexpected.
To browse means to look through things in a relaxed way without having a specific plan.
You can browse books in a bookstore, browse clothes in a shop, or browse the internet.
Speaking of the internet, many people prefer watching movies and series in their free time.
I enjoy that too. I like watching a good film on the weekend, especially if I have some snacks.
Do you usually watch movies alone or with other people?
Both. Some movies are better with friends because you can laugh and discuss them afterward. But sometimes I want to watch something alone and choose exactly what I like.
Do you ever watch a whole season of a series in one weekend?
I have, but I try not to do it too often.
That's called binge watching.
Yes, to binge watch means to watch many episodes one after another, usually for several hours.
For example, I binge watched an entire series last weekend.
It can be fun, but it can also make you lose track of time.
There's that expression again, time flies.
Exactly. You say, I was going to watch one episode, but time flew and I watched 5.
What kind of movies do you like?
I enjoy comedies, documentaries, and light dramas. I don't usually watch very frightening films because I have a vivid imagination.
I like action movies, but I also enjoy documentaries. Recently, I've been watching documentaries about nature.
Nature documentaries are beautiful. They can be relaxing and educational at the same time.
Do you watch movies in English?
Yes, whenever possible. It's a good way to practice listening. Sometimes I use English subtitles, especially if the actors speak quickly.
That's a good learning strategy. You don't have to understand every word. You can focus on the story and listen to the pronunciation.
And if you hear a useful expression, you can pause the video and write it down.
But don't pause every 5 seconds. That can make the activity exhausting.
True. The goal is to enjoy the movie and get used to natural English.
What about music? How much music do you listen to?
Every day. I listen to music when I'm cooking, cleaning, walking, or traveling.
Do you have a favorite style?
My taste is quite varied. I listen to pop, jazz, classical music, and sometimes traditional music from different countries.
I usually listen to music depending on my mood.
If I need energy, I listen to something fast. If I want to relax, I choose something slow.
That's called choosing music according to your mood.
Music can also bring back memories. You can hear an old song and suddenly remember a holiday, a school year, or a person.
Absolutely. A song can take you back to a specific moment in your life.
Do you sing?
Only when I'm alone.
So you sing in the shower?
Sometimes. The shower has excellent acoustics.
That's a very polite way to say that you enjoy singing when nobody can hear you.
Exactly. I'm not saying I'm a great singer. I'm just saying I'm very confident in the shower.
Confidence is important.
It is. Hobbies don't have to be performances. You don't need to be talented to enjoy music, reading, or movies.
That's an important message. Many people avoid hobbies because they think they aren't good enough.
But a hobby is not a competition. It's something you do because it gives you pleasure, helps you relax, or makes you curious.
Well said. Now let's move from quiet hobbies to activities that involve movement and the outdoors.
Okay?
Carol, do you enjoy outdoor activities?
Yes, especially walking. I'm not a professional athlete, but I like going for long walks when the weather is pleasant.
Walking is a wonderful hobby because it's simple and inexpensive.
Exactly. You don't need special equipment. You can walk in a park, around your neighborhood, or in the countryside.
Do you walk alone?
Usually, but sometimes I walk with a friend. When you walk with someone, the conversation feels very natural because you're not sitting face to face.
That's true. Walking side by side can make difficult conversations easier.
It can also help you discover new places. I've lived in my city for years, but I still find streets and cafes that I didn't know about.
I like that. A simple walk can become a small adventure.
What sports do you play?
I play tennis occasionally, and I go swimming when I have time.
Do you play tennis regularly?
Not as regularly as I should. I play once or twice a month. I'd like to play more often, but I don't always manage to fit it into my schedule.
To fit something into your schedule means to find time for an activity despite being busy.
Yes. For example, I'm trying to fit more exercise into my schedule.
I use that phrase when I'm organizing my week. Sometimes I say I'm too busy, but really I need to plan better.
That happens to many people. They want to exercise, but they think exercise has to take a long time.
It doesn't. Even a short workout can be useful.
Do you go to the gym?
Sometimes, but I prefer group classes. I enjoy yoga and dance classes because they are more social.
Do you find it easier to exercise with other people?
Yes, when I exercise alone, I can easily make excuses. I might say, I'll do it tomorrow. But if a friend is waiting for me, I'm more likely to go.
That's called accountability. When another person helps you stay responsible for your plans, they provide accountability.
Exactly. A workout partner can motivate you.
I like exercising with friends too, but I don't like competitive people who take everything too seriously.
Neither do I. I want to enjoy the activity. I'm not trying to win a world championship.
Although you become very competitive when you play board games.
That is completely different.
How?
In board games, strategy is important. In exercise, I'm just trying to survive.
Fair enough.
Do you enjoy cycling?
Yes, especially in the spring and summer. Cycling is a great way to explore a city or the countryside.
I like cycling too, but I'm always worried about traffic.
That's understandable. Safety should come first. You should wear a helmet and choose safe routes when possible.
Another outdoor activity I enjoy is gardening.
Gardening? I didn't know you were interested in plants.
I became interested recently. I started with a few small herbs, such as basil and mint. Now I have more plants than I expected.
Are they all alive?
Most of them.
That pause was suspicious.
Some plants didn't survive, but I learned from the experience.
Gardening requires patience, doesn't it?
Yes, you can't force a plant to grow faster. You have to water it, give it light, and wait.
That sounds like a good lesson for life.
It is. Gardening helps me slow down. It's also satisfying to see something grow because of your care.
Do you grow vegetables?
I'm trying to grow tomatoes. So far, I have many leaves, but no tomatoes.
Maybe the tomatoes are taking a break.
Maybe they need more free time.
What about hiking? Is that something you enjoy?
I enjoy hiking when the trail isn't too difficult. I like being in nature, seeing trees and breathing fresh air.
I like hiking too, but I need to prepare. Some people say, let's go for a short hike, and then the hike becomes a 6-hour mountain adventure.
That's why it's important to ask questions before you go. How long is the trail? Is it difficult? What should you bring?
You should also check the weather.
Definitely. Weather can change quickly, especially in the mountains.
Have you ever gone camping?
Yes, but I'm not an experienced camper. I enjoy sitting outside and looking at the stars, but I don't enjoy sleeping on the ground.
I understand.
Camping sounds romantic until you wake up with a sore back.
Or discover that a small insect has entered your tent.
That's when the relaxing outdoor hobby becomes a survival experience.
Even so, outdoor hobbies can be excellent for your physical and mental health.
They help you spend less time indoors and away from screens.
And they give you a chance to spend quality time with friends or family.
I think the most important thing is to choose an activity that you genuinely enjoy.
Yes, if you hate running, you don't have to run. You can dance, swim, walk, cycle, or play a sport.
Exercise should not feel like punishment.
Exactly. It should be a positive part of your life. Now let's talk about creative hobbies. These are activities where people make, build, draw, cook, or create something.
Bruno, have you ever had a creative hobby?
I've tried several. I once learned how to play the guitar, but I gave up after a few months.
Why did you give up?
Because my fingers hurt and I wanted to play difficult songs immediately.
That's a common mistake. When you learn a new skill, you have to start with the basics.
I wanted to play a beautiful song, but I couldn't even change between two simple chords.
Learning an instrument takes patience and regular practice.
Yes, I practiced for 10 minutes and expected amazing results.
10 minutes can be useful, but you need to practice consistently.
Consistently means regularly and in a stable way. It's better to practice a little every day than to practice for 3 hours once a month.
That's true for many hobbies, including learning English.
Did you ever learn an instrument?
I took piano lessons when I was younger. I wasn't very good, but I enjoyed learning the songs.
Do you still play?
Occasionally. I don't practice enough to become excellent, but I can play simple melodies.
That's the right attitude. You don't have to become an expert.
Exactly. Many people stop enjoying a hobby when they turn it into a competition or a business.
What other creative hobbies do you enjoy?
I like cooking and baking. Cooking is creative because you can change a recipe and experiment with different ingredients.
Are you good at following recipes?
I'm good at following simple recipes. When a recipe has too many steps, I sometimes skip one.
That can be dangerous.
It depends on the step.
What's the most unusual thing you've cooked?
I once tried to make homemade bread. It looked beautiful before I put it in the oven.
And afterward?
It was very hard. I think it could have been used as a doorstop.
A doorstop is an object that prevents a door from closing, so your bread was not exactly successful.
No, but I learned something. Baking requires more precision than ordinary cooking.
That's true. In baking, small changes in the amount of flour or water can affect the result.
Do you enjoy cooking?
Yes, especially when I have time. During a busy week, I prefer quick meals. On the weekend, I enjoy trying something new.
Cooking can also be a social hobby. You can invite friends to your home and prepare a meal together.
That's more fun than cooking alone. One person can chop vegetables, another can prepare the sauce, and someone else can choose the music.
And then everyone shares the meal.
Have you ever tried painting or drawing?
Yes, but I'm still a beginner. I like watercolor painting because the colors are soft and relaxing.
Do you paint people or landscapes?
Mostly plants, houses, and simple landscapes. I'm not confident enough to paint people.
Why not?
Because a face can look completely different if you make one small mistake.
Maybe that's why many artists paint landscapes.
Perhaps, but art is not only about producing a perfect result. It's also about the process.
That's an important idea. The process means the activity of doing something, not only the final product.
Exactly. When I paint, I focus on the colors and the movement of the brush. I'm not thinking about work or problems.
That sounds relaxing.
It is. Creative activities can help people express feelings that are difficult to explain with words.
Do you write?
I keep a journal. I write about my day, my plans, and sometimes my worries.
Does journaling help?
Yes. Writing things down helps me organize my thoughts. It can make a problem seem smaller.
I've heard people say, I need to clear my head.
That means to relax mentally or stop thinking about too many problems.
Writing can help you clear your head.
So can walking, music, and meditation.
Have you ever tried meditation?
Yes, but I'm not always patient. I sit quietly for 2 minutes and then I start thinking about everything.
Maybe thinking about everything is part of the process.
Perhaps. Meditation teaches you to notice your thoughts without following every thought.
That sounds difficult but useful.
Another hobby I'd like to try is pottery.
Working with clay?
Yes, I like the idea of making something with my hands.
I'd like to try woodworking, but I'm worried about using tools.
You could start with a beginner's class.
That's probably the safest option. Classes are useful because someone can show you the correct technique.
And classes are also a way to meet people who have similar interests.
That's a good point. A hobby can create a community.
Exactly. You might join a photography group, a cooking class, a choir, or a book club.
Have you ever joined a book club?
Yes, once. I liked discussing the book, but I found it difficult to finish the book before the meeting.
That defeats the purpose of a book club.
I know, but the conversations were still interesting.
Maybe the real hobby was talking about books.
Possibly.
Learning a new skill can be challenging at the beginning.
Yes, and you may feel uncomfortable because you're a beginner.
People sometimes compare themselves with experts.
That's a mistake. You should compare yourself with your past self. Ask, am I improving?
That's much healthier, and it's okay to make mistakes.
Mistakes are part of learning. If you never make mistakes, you may not be trying anything new.
This is also true when learning English. You don't need perfect grammar to communicate.
Exactly. You need practice, patience, and the courage to keep going.
Now let's look at a very modern part of free time, digital hobbies and activities we do online.
That's a great topic, Bruno.
Carol, do you play video games?
Occasionally. I'm not a serious gamer, but I enjoy simple games when I want to relax.
What kind of games do you like?
I like puzzle games and games that involve organizing or creating things. I don't enjoy games that are too stressful.
I prefer adventure games. I like exploring different worlds and solving problems.
Do you play online with other people?
Sometimes. Online games can be very social. You can communicate with people from different countries while you play.
That can be a great way to practice English too.
Yes, especially if you use voice chat. You hear people speaking naturally and you have to respond quickly.
But you may hear slang and expressions that are difficult for learners.
That's true. Slang is informal language, often used among friends or in relaxed situations.
It's useful to understand slang, but learners don't need to use every expression they hear.
Exactly. It's important to know the situation. Some expressions are appropriate with friends, but not in a formal meeting.
Apart from games, do you listen to podcasts?
Yes, I listen to podcasts when I'm walking or traveling. I like podcasts about science, history, and personal stories.
Podcasts are convenient because you can listen while doing another activity.
Do you listen to podcasts in English?
Yes. At first, I listened to very slow programs for learners. Now I sometimes listen to podcasts made for native speakers.
Is it difficult?
Sometimes. Native speakers may talk quickly or use cultural references, but I don't worry if I don't understand everything.
That's a good strategy. If the topic is interesting, you can understand a lot from the context.
Context means the situation or information around a word or sentence.
For example, if you don't know one word, you can use the rest of the sentence to guess its meaning.
Exactly. You can also listen to the same episode more than once.
Do you watch online videos as a hobby?
Yes, but I try to choose videos carefully. I like travel videos, cooking channels, and interviews.
I watch tutorials when I want to learn something practical.
A tutorial is a video or lesson that explains how to do something.
I've watched tutorials about repairing furniture, cooking, and taking better photographs.
Have you actually used the information?
Sometimes. I watched a tutorial about fixing a loose chair. After 10 minutes, I understood the problem.
Did you fix it?
Not exactly. I understood the problem, but I still called someone to repair it.
Understanding a tutorial and doing the task are two different skills.
That's true. But at least I knew what the repair person was doing.
What about photography? Is that one of your hobbies?
Yes, especially when I travel. I like taking pictures of buildings, food, and landscapes.
Do you use a professional camera?
No, I use my phone. Modern phones have very good cameras.
Photography helps you notice details. You may walk past a building every day, but when you try to photograph it, you see the colors, shapes, and light.
That's exactly what I like about it.
I also enjoy taking pictures, but I take too many pictures of my food.
Everyone takes pictures of food.
I know, but sometimes my friends have to wait while I find the best angle.
That is part of the dining experience now.
Another digital hobby is learning online. People can take courses about almost anything.
Have you taken an online course recently?
Yes, I took a short course about interior design. I wanted to improve my apartment.
Did you change anything?
I moved the furniture and added some plants. The apartment feels more comfortable now.
That sounds useful. I took an online course about basic photography, but I didn't finish it.
You didn't get around to finishing it?
Exactly. I watched half of the lessons and then forgot about the course.
That's one disadvantage of online learning. You have flexibility, but you also need discipline.
When you have a fixed class, you have to attend at a certain time. With an online course, it's easy to postpone it.
To postpone means to delay something until a later time.
For example, I keep postponing my online course.
Or don't postpone your hobby forever. Start with just 15 minutes.
That's good advice. Sometimes starting is the hardest part.
Do you think digital hobbies are better or worse than traditional hobbies?
Neither. It depends on how you use technology.
Technology can help you learn, connect, and create, but it can also become passive.
Passive means you receive information without actively doing anything.
Watching videos for hours can be passive, but creating a video, writing, or learning a skill is more active.
That's a useful difference. The important question is, how do you feel after the activity?
If I feel refreshed, interested, or satisfied, it was probably a good use of my free time.
And if I feel tired, frustrated, or disappointed, maybe I should choose a different activity.
That doesn't mean every hobby must be productive.
No, sometimes a funny movie or a simple game is exactly what you need.
The key is balance.
Yes, balance between screen time and outdoor time, between activities alone and activities with other people, and between relaxing and learning.
That brings us to our final topic, how hobbies can help us connect with other people.
Hobbies are often more enjoyable when we share them with others.
That's true. Many friendships begin because people have a common interest.
You can meet someone at a language class, a sports club, a concert, a cooking course, or a volunteer activity.
A common interest gives you something to talk about. You don't have to begin with a difficult conversation.
You can simply say, "How long have you been coming here?" Or, "Have you tried this class before?"
Those are good questions for breaking the ice.
Breaking the ice means starting a friendly conversation in a situation where people may feel nervous or uncomfortable.
For example, if you join a photography group, you can ask someone about their camera.
Or you can say, "That's a beautiful picture. Where did you take it?"
A simple question can start a conversation.
Have you ever made a friend through a hobby?
Yes, I met one of my closest friends at a swimming pool. We started talking because we were both always late for the same class.
That's an unusual way to begin a friendship.
We discovered that we lived near each other, so we started having coffee after class.
And now you're still friends?
Yes, we don't see each other every week, but we keep in touch.
That's another useful expression. To keep in touch means to continue communicating with someone.
You can keep in touch by meeting in person, sending messages, making phone calls, or using video calls.
Sometimes people lose touch because their lives become busy.
To lose touch means to stop communicating regularly.
But if the friendship is important, you can reconnect.
To reconnect means to communicate again after a period of little or no contact.
Hobbies can also help people who feel lonely.
Yes, when you attend a regular activity, you see the same people every week.
Over time, you become familiar with each other. You may not become close friends immediately, but you create a sense of community.
A sense of community means feeling that you belong to a group or place.
That feeling is very important, especially for people who move to a new city or country.
Joining a club can help them meet people and practice the local language.
It can be difficult to attend the first time, though.
Yes, you may feel shy or worried that nobody will talk to you.
But many people in clubs understand that new members feel nervous. They may welcome you and explain how things work.
You can also invite someone for coffee after the activity.
That's a natural way to develop a friendship.
Do you prefer group hobbies or individual hobbies?
I like both. Group hobbies give me energy and social contact. Individual hobbies give me quiet time.
That sounds like a good balance.
I think people should also respect the hobbies of their friends and partners.
What do you mean?
Sometimes two people enjoy each other's company but have completely different interests. One person may love football while the other prefers painting.
They don't have to do everything together.
Exactly. It's healthy to have separate interests. You can support someone's hobby without becoming an expert in it.
For example, I don't enjoy every type of music Carol listens to, but I'm happy when she finds a new song she loves.
And I don't understand all the rules of Bruno's favorite sports, but I still ask him about the game.
That's very kind.
It's also a good way to show interest in another person's life.
Sometimes couples or friends need to negotiate their free time.
Yes, to negotiate means to discuss something and find an agreement.
One person may want to stay home while the other wants to go out.
You can find a compromise.
A compromise is an agreement where each person accepts part of what the other person wants.
For example, you can stay home on Friday and go out on Saturday.
Or you can spend the morning doing separate hobbies and meet for lunch.
That sounds fair.
What is your ideal weekend?
I'd like to have a slow breakfast, go for a walk, read for a while, and meet a friend in the afternoon. In the evening, I might cook something special and watch a movie.
That sounds relaxing but not boring.
What about you?
My ideal weekend would include exercise, good food, some time outdoors, and a hobby that I don't usually have time for during the week.
Such as playing guitar?
Maybe. I might give the guitar another chance.
You should start slowly this time.
I will. I'll learn one simple song instead of trying to become a rock star in a week.
That sounds realistic.
Before we finish, let's review a few natural expressions from today's conversation.
Good idea. First, I'm really into means I'm very interested in something.
For example, I'm really into photography.
I've taken up means that you have recently started a new hobby.
I've taken up gardening.
I don't get around to it very often means that you don't find enough time to do something.
I enjoy cooking, but I don't get around to it very often.
I need some me time means that you need time alone to relax.
I make time for exercise means that you deliberately create time for exercise.
Time flies means that time passes quickly.
And keep in touch means to continue communicating with someone.
These expressions are useful because they help you sound more natural when talking about your interests.
You can practice by completing these sentences.
In my free time, I'm really into.
Recently, I've taken up.
I'd like to try.
I don't get around to.
I usually spend my weekends.
You can answer these questions aloud, even if you're alone.
Speaking aloud helps you become more comfortable using English.
And you don't need to give a perfect answer. Just speak about something you enjoy.
Your hobby could be reading, cooking, gaming, drawing, walking, dancing, traveling, gardening, or listening to music.
It could also be something simple that you don't usually call a hobby.
Like drinking coffee with friends, visiting new places, taking pictures, or watching documentaries.
A hobby is simply an activity that you enjoy doing regularly in your free time.
And there are no rules about what counts as a hobby.
The important thing is that it makes your life more interesting, relaxing, creative, or connected.
We've talked about many different hobbies today.
Yes, we discussed reading, movies, music, exercise, outdoor activities, cooking, painting, learning new skills, gaming, online courses, and social hobbies.
We hope this conversation helped you learn useful vocabulary for talking about your free time.
Remember, you can practice by talking about your own hobbies. Try to answer the question, what do you like to do in your free time?
You can say, I'm really into, I enjoy, I've recently taken up, or I'd like to try.
And if you don't have much free time, you can say, I'm busy these days, but I try to make time for.
That is a very natural way to describe your routine.
Also remember that hobbies don't have to be productive or impressive.
You don't need to be an expert, you don't need expensive equipment, and you don't need to compare yourself with other people.
Choose something you enjoy, start small, and give yourself time to improve.
A few minutes of practice can become a regular habit.
And a regular hobby can improve your mood, your health, your creativity, and even your social life.
If you enjoyed this English listening practice, please give the video a thumbs up and subscribe to the channel.
We post new English lessons every day, so come back tomorrow for another natural conversation.
And write a comment telling us about your favorite hobby.
You can write, in my free time, I enjoy.
Or, I've recently taken up.
We'd love to know what you like to do when you're not working or studying.
Thank you so much for listening today.
Keep practicing, keep listening, and enjoy your free time.
See you next time. Bye.
Bye-bye.